Dough circles are pressed into canapé molds, tied together, then deep fried, then allowed to rest before spooning in delicious fillings before serving. Welcome back to Cravings Food Adventures. I'm Canapes. Today I'm going to show you how to make Forminhas. Forminhas are a Goan style canapé. It's basically a tart that is made out of a savory dough and it's filled with various things like tuna or vegetables. You can really use your imagination, but very often it's really difficult to find the canapé shells, or if you can find them, they're super expensive. I'm going to show you how easy it is to make this in your own home. These tarts can be made ahead and you can serve them at any special occasion. Before I go any further with this recipe, do make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure to ring that bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. Now let's get cooking. I'm going to start with the Forminha cases. I have 2 cups of flour, and to this I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt and 3 tablespoons of butter. My butter is at room temperature, but it's still on the cold side. Now I'm going to spend a few minutes really working this butter into the flour. This will result in a nice crispy base. To knead this into a dough, I'm going to add some warm water. I'm going to add about half a cup, a little bit at a time, and I'm going to knead as I go. If your dough is looking too dry, add a bit more water. Knead for a few minutes till it comes together as a dough. The dough will feel a bit stiff, so it's now time to allow the gluten to rest. Cover this with cling film and leave it aside for 15 to 20 minutes. While this rests, I want to talk about the tart shells we're going to use to make the Forminhas. These ones are thinner and made especially for canapes, and these are heavier, and these ones are actually made for tart cases. Both can be used. Since I don't have enough of the canapé cases, I will be using both. Take a portion of your rested dough and roll it out till it's a few millimeters in diameter. I have a bunch of cookie cutters here, the scalloped edge as well as the plain cutter. This cutter is 7 centimeters in diameter, and it's a perfect size for this tart mold. I prefer the plain cutter as it's easier to power through these. I'm going to cut as many rounds as I can, and then using 2 hands and my thumbs, I'm going to rotate the tart base and press into the sides. Now I'm going to demonstrate 3 different methods of frying these. If you want to fry them in singles, prick them at the bottom with a fork or a knife. For the second method, I'm going to stack 2 together and I'm going to place an empty tart shell on the top. And for the third method, I will do the same, except I'm going to flip these over and secure with kitchen string. You can stack 2, 3 or more depending on how much oil you're planning to use. The tarts need to be immersed. Make sure that your oil is hot enough. If you immerse a small piece of dough, it will quickly rise to the top if the oil is hot enough. If it hovers at the bottom surrounded by bubbles, give this a bit more time to come up to temperature. First to go in is the single tart shell. Next, I'm going to add the stacked shells. And finally, I'm going to add the shells I stacked and tied. You will notice that the single case has already left the base and it's floating at the top. I'm just going to remove the case and keep it aside. Because the tart base is in contact with the hot oil, it starts to puff out and it loses its shape a little bit. Now let's look at the tart cases that weren't tied down. The heat is expanding the dough and it's pushing on the case in front of it. Pretty soon, they will expand and separate from the rest of the stack and lose their shape as well. And finally, look at the one that's tied securely. It stays together, and as soon as I see some color on the edges, I will remove it and allow it to cool. Once cool, cut the string and look how perfect these are. So it's obvious, out of method 1, 2 and 3, I totally prefer 3. Roll it the rest and secure them all by stacking and tying. Insert these into the hot oil and allow these to cook till you see the edges are golden brown. Now I'm really glad this happened so I can show you what happens if you don't tie these securely and in the middle. The kitchen string can slip and the tart stack can get undone. Lesson learned. Flip these over in between. Repeat this process till they are all fried and ready. Once done and cool, I'm going to snip the kitchen string and release all of the tart shells. You can use this right away, or you can store these in an airtight container for a week. Now for the fillings. Starting with a really simple vegetable filling. Heat some water and add some salt. First, I'm going to add half a cup of cubed potatoes. As this is going to take the longest to cook, I'm going to add the potatoes in first. I'm going to follow this with a half cup of diced carrots, and finally I'm going to add half a cup of frozen peas. Once these are all cooked, I'm going to remove, drain and allow the veggies to cool. For best results, make sure these veggies aren't overcooked. Once cooled, add salt and pepper. I'm also going to add a quarter cup of finely diced onion, a quarter cup of parsley. I'm also going to add 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise and I'm going to mix it together really well. Next, I'm going to start with a can of tuna. This is 120 grams after it's been drained. Add salt and pepper, 1 tablespoon of mustard, 1 tablespoon of diced parsley, and I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of diced spring onion. For color, I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of finely diced red pepper. Add 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise and mix it well together. Chill these and spoon into the Forminha cases before serving. Enjoy! Thank you so much for joining me on Cravings for Adventures. I hope you enjoyed this delicious recipe for Forminhas. These tart shells are so easy to make and they can be filled with pretty much anything. If you love this video, guys, give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment below and don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well as make sure that you've rung the bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. If you love my recipes, do share them with your family and friends so they can enjoy it as well. And be sure to follow me behind the scenes on all of my social channels. I upload a ton of behind the scenes footage there. So follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. Until I see you next time, do take care. Bye.